Have you felt like something was happening to you that you didn't quite understand? Or that there was something going on in the world that was very different and you didn't understand why that was happening, and you might have been a little afraid or nervous? Or you could be sitting somewhere and knowing that you're meant to do something because you've always felt that your life was meant to make a difference, that you were supposed to do something when you came to the world, and you might be feeling, I haven't done it yet. Well, that's probably true, and you probably haven't done it because your potential is always being unfolded. But I will tell you that you're feeling uncomfortable now because you're meant to take the next step in your life and own who you are and create something wonderful. That's why you're in the world, and that is why the world looks that way. I'm going to show you something today because this has been what my life has come to bring you this work, because I know that you're in the world to do something great and it's supposed to happen now. But let me explain what that is, because I've been talking about my work for a long time. So today I'm going to give you this because I'm leaving this to the world and I want you to take advantage of it, because you can live the best life possible and create everything that you want, and we could all have a wonderful world as well. The only difficulty has been we don't believe that. I didn't believe it, but now that's why I can give it to you. So I finally came up with, I had some help though, came up with what is my work, and it is a combination of all these things. Take Einstein and Tesla and Jesus and Jung and put them all together, and now you have my work. And that is your life operating instructions, which was the philosophy that I was given, but now that's my program called Your Last Development Program. And I'm going to show you why it works and why there is absolutely no reason for any of us to still suffer and struggle in our lives, and also to keep creating the world that we're seeing now, because we have the ability to change it, and you have the ability to create the best life. And that's why you're here, because your creation of your life is vital to what happens in the world. That's just something we come to understand over time, but we also come to understand it as our civilization changes as well. But I have something to show you and to leave this with you, because I've left you a whole bunch of gifts recently, which are just things to work with your consciousness. That's all. Because that's all that we ever do, is decide how much are we going to believe ourselves? How much are we going to know that we matter? The only problem, the only difficulty, the only challenge any of us will experience in our lives is that self-belief. That's all. That's why you don't have confidence. But the great thing is you can develop it, because that's part of your life journey. Everyone's meant to do that. But you will love this. The Einstein, Jesus, Tesla, Jung Guide to Your Best Life. And I'll explain what that is. It was wonderful to come up with this. My ChatGPT helped me with this because it can interpret all the work that Wilhelm has given me, but you'll understand that soon. And so it's called, the philosophy that I was given is called Your Life Operating Instructions. But that is turning into Your Last Development Program, because that's what I'm putting in there. Now, I began in 2021 with 4 Weeks to Your Best Life, which is the entryway now that people can come into, and you'll understand all of that. But in 2021, when I discovered what I had been given, it still was kind of astonishing to me, and it's taken this time to really, for me to accept, which is the same for you, because you've got some stuff in you that's waiting to be developed now. And why this works matters. It's because the world is calling for transformation. You felt it, and you are here for a reason. You'll start to understand that your contribution is how happy you decide to become, and that is the contribution you will make. Because when you become successful, you become happy, you're owning yourself. And this is your time to thrive, succeed, and prosper. Now, in 2020, my messages, many of you know I began receiving Wilhelm messages in 1989, but in 2020 I knew that something was different. It had happened well before that, but different words began coming through then. But you will understand this, because this is all of us. You are in the process of being restructured. First of all, Please note, this message has been decades in the making for Roger and you. We are indeed using the collective view in this message, and you may understand why we have taken to using this phraseology recently. It is because you, the individual, and the collective you are evolving, which occurs through the destruction of the old you. And that means each of us. We come into the world and we have these things within us that we need to move through. That's called our journey. That's self-actualization. That's self-realization. But I also think of it as ascension, because I know that through the work I've received from Wilhelm, that we all have this spiritual connection. That's why you're in the world as well. Everyone won't come to that understanding, but you'll see a few other things about that. Now, and then still in 2020, the messages I started to receive were giving me much more information about what would be happening in our world. And it's challenging because when I receive information from Wilhelm, it's precognitive, and so most people would not receive it or understand it in this kind of detail. Anyway, you and the world are evolving, and you cannot fail. We know those words may fall on deaf ears for many of you, but it will be your experience. The other day, Roger's friend asked him how he could know the information we provide him is true or accurate, and we will tell you that he did not know beforehand, and only recently began accepting more due to the proof we have given. What we are describing is your life. You have had ideas of who you might become in this world, followed by constant doubt and uncertainty, which you and the world are experiencing now. We will leave one of our earlier messages to offer further understanding. When we delivered this message, Roger didn't believe us either. But now, over time, he can see the evidence of what we said. While we will continue this conversation for a while, we will leave you with something we gave you some time ago, and now it might make more sense, especially when you think of it while reading the message we will post here. The statement was that even Hitler went to heaven. There is no such thing as heaven, but the concept will make you aware of the choices you are making in your life. In other words, you, meaning the world, will allow catastrophes, calamities, pandemics, and all manner of disruptions in your personal life and that of your world, so you might be moved to evolve. That is why you are finding yourself now finally willing to do what you were meant to do in this world. And due to that, you and the world evolve. And then after that, they led me back, and this happens quite a bit. You'll see this in some of the things that I will leave you. They will lead me to a different message, because everything we come to understand in ourselves is in consciousness, but over time. But then they sent me back to a message that was in 2019 saying, you cannot go back and be happy. Because a lot of us do that. We do it in our lives in so many ways. Think we can go back to something else, but that's the world as well. Okay. Then we saw things happening in our world and also in the United States, which Wilhelm talked about quite a bit. And surprisingly, we just saw it a few months ago. But in 2020, they were saying this would happen. You must understand, everything is energy. You, every single human, we're all energy. But we just have different strains that we carry around. And this was August 31st, 2020. We will use a story now. We have continually given Roger information about the restructuring of your world and told him the United States and black women would help lead the way. This information seemed so strange to him that he could only speak of it to a few. Then Roger watched the film Black Panther last night, and he began to make the connection. Roger could not understand why he had not seen this viral film before. And we told him because it would only make sense now. You each will have those experiences. Now, what that particular message was saying I hadn't seen that film, and every black person probably had seen it by then, but I hadn't. And it was something within me that I had to come to look at, Why hadn't I seen it? Anyway, and this message is saying for every single person. We all have energetic connections to our different races, different cultures, different identities that have come before. We're eternal spiritual beings, and so we all have it. Everyone will not accept that. However, when you understand that getting to becoming your full human self is understanding that you do have a connection that goes back more than you can remember. And so then you will not beat yourself up when you find yourself not able to move through something in your life now that you may not understand. That is what Wilhelm kept giving us. And if you listen to any of the channeling sessions, you will hear quite a bit of that. Now, why are we talking about Einstein? It's because certain people just inspired me, and I didn't know how that was coming together. The same would be true for you. And he talked about thoughts, and we've seen that thoughts create everything. As we come into our physical bodies, we don't understand everything, but we learn that over time, and there are different people who have come about to give us that information. Einstein was one, but then every single person that comes after learns from that and builds upon it. No one has any more information than another. We just decide how much we're going to use, that's all. Okay, and then why Jesus? Because Jesus said forgiveness, love, and compassion. And then we just said, no, we're not going to do that. We're going to make up other things. And Jesus didn't have any religion. See, Wilhelm told me that what they were giving me is something that just allows every single person to understand their authenticity as a soul. Doesn't matter what religion, what race or gender. None of that matters. It's that you are a soul. And so, but we forget that. But certain people come around to tell us, and we just think, nope, we're not going to believe it. And so then I have received this message. And 2020 again, you didn't believe Jesus either. We must say it took Roger an incredibly long time to allow us to use those words, as he never wants to be controversial. But we, on the other hand, don't think quite in that manner. Our goal is always to provide you with information that might ease your physical life journey. Understand that Roger began consciously receiving our information in 1988, and none of you were involved. We said consciously because he, as all of you, have guides with you your entire lives, but you pretend you do not hear their guidance. Now, in 2005, when others began reading our words, Roger found himself continually censoring what we might say. He thought he was doing that to protect you all in some way, but actually he was avoiding himself, as each of you has. The other day, we gave you a message about dying, which was a precursor to this one. Roger thought this morning we were leading him back to that one, but we were not. We wanted him and you to see another, and please pay attention to the date as it corresponds to your world now. To explain our title of this message, what we meant was your only fear now is of your impending physical death. Jesus and we said that never occurs. But what you are asked to do, as Roger was guided through this message, is change and be yourselves finally. Yes, we are yelling. Tragedies. November 15th, 2015. This one will require contemplation on your part. Times of tragedy always occur, and what may seem like in a strange manner to you, they also actually cause you to evolve. This is true in your personal experience as well as that of your world. You find this difficult to know or believe as you are in the midst of the tragedy, and it is precisely all those times where you would do well to study your history, and that includes your personal history and that of your world. You will see periods where millions of people perish, or you personally suffered a great loss. All of them eventually led to a new awareness, and that is evolution. This has occurred and will occur throughout your history and that of mankind. Your job now is to hold the belief of your expansion to come and to that of your world. It's just all of these that came through in that year were kind of surprising, actually. And I'm going to give you more. Okay, now why Tesla? Because it's about innovation, and I did something so different. And it also made it challenging. But so Tesla did as well. But then he influenced the rest of the world. When you come up with something new, nobody's going to accept it. I've been speaking about this for my work for the longest time, and it was challenging for me to accept it. That I had done this all these years and it healed my life and it's done that for others. And then you will hear that, I will hear that and say, nope, couldn't have possibly happened. And that's why our world looks the way that it does, because we don't think things are possible. Wilhelm gave us a message the other day, well, it was years ago actually, and it said utopia is attainable within us and also in our world. If we decide that we're going to move through our old stuff, then why Jung? Because he talked about synchronicity. I'd never read Carl Jung, but he talks about exactly the problem that we all have. See, because we don't want to do self-discovery. We think something bad is in there. That never occurs either. But he discovered that and said the only problem people are having is that they don't want to look at themselves. And I have seen that because I can talk to people all day long and say, listen, if you just take this work, you have this brilliance within you and you'll find it. And I'll say, nope, it's too scary. I'm not going to do it. I'm going to rather stay and suffer. And I can say that because I did it. And I know this because at 74, I'm finally saying, now it's time to do this. Okay, now, he talked about synchronicity, and I had never studied Carl Jung, and I go back to find that I was given information about that in 2012, no awareness of it. And you will hear that when you hear some of the channeling sessions. We exist in different dimensions. When I'm channeling Wilhelm, I'm in a different dimension. That's why all of this work, if I had consumed it, I would be very different right now, but that's not what happens. I channel, so I'm just putting it down. But it is usable now for everyone else. The idea of synchronicity will continually come up for you throughout your physical lifetime, and it is incredibly valuable when you decide to notice it. That synchronicity can be thought of as a confluence of events, sometimes seemingly unrelated, but bring you to some greater awareness and wisdom. You will have one experience which might seem inexplicable to you, but it leads you to another event and perhaps another, and in your hindsight you begin to notice their connection. All this information is also to help you remember that you do not live in a random universe, but a state of grace. Wilhelm. Now, that was in 2012, and I will tell you that in the last 2 years, I have discovered the synchronicity that have existed in all of these messages since 1989, and I had no idea that was occurring, but I've published many things for you all so you can see them, so you can take advantage of it. But there is an organization in the universe, which I've also discovered, which is why I have a birthday message for everyone's birthday. All of these things are challenging to believe, as they were for me, but I've had the proof of them now. Okay, now I just want you to understand, because what this work is, this will all be on the video, because I'm doing this, as many of you might have known, I said I was doing this, my Cyber Monday deal is going through the end of this year, because next year this work is changing. It's going to be so much more, and so I'm giving everyone the opportunity to come in now, and you can see what will happen. There's no reason for you to still struggle, and I will say to you, the only reason we do is because we don't keep taking the steps. And I stopped as well, which is why I'm making this move now for a couple of reasons. I know that I'm going to finish this work. I'm not going to do that, but I also know that energetically, it's a very important time on this day, actually, for us to move and put more positive energy into our lives and in the world, and that's why I'm doing this. So, this is the one message that Wilhelm wanted everyone to understand, because your life doesn't matter until you can get this message. You don't live forever, but your story and why you are here is important. You may have to figure it out like I did, and so it just took a long time, but even that is valuable, because now I can leave all of this with everyone else. You will do the same, because that's how we all evolve. Your story is unique and valuable. It is unique because no other soul shares precisely your story. It holds the utmost value for you. Your story is comprised of everything your past holds, including all that has occurred for you, happened to you, everything you have done, every person you have met, and every word you have spoken. All of it has been and always will be perfect. Your only job, then, is to seek to know the perfection of your story. Any aspect of your particular story that you attempt to ignore, dismiss, or judge will cause you to experience some difficulty because you are refusing to receive the information and wisdom that your story holds. I will tell you that that just came to me last night. This has been around forever and I've talked about it, but I just realized that this was also about the world. This message is talking about the world, but also more specifically the United States, because if we look at this whole configuration, we're meant to change things, and we're fighting about it because we're hanging on to old things. That's what you'll see, so many messages that Wilhelm has given us, and also the channeling sessions where that was spoken of. Now, this is, I want you to understand this, so this will be on the video. This is how it came about. We all come in to do something different. I could have never told you when I was younger that this is what would have happened, but you don't know what you are going to become either. And you're unlimited. And if there's one thing I can tell you, I know that about you. Okay, the approach used in this work integrates channeling of higher wisdom with insights from influential figures such as Einstein, Jesus, Tesla, and Jung. The methodology aligns with established practices in personal development and spiritual growth. I mean, you'll understand so much of that because we don't accept certain aspects of ourselves over time. Like spirituality was one of them. Okay, channeling, recognized for fostering self-awareness and personal transformation. Channeling involves accessing insights from higher realms to guide individuals toward deeper understanding and growth. Einstein's perspective, emphasizing interconnectedness and the pursuit of understanding beyond the material world. Einstein's philosophy validates the integration of universal energy and thought. Jung's exploration, the collective unconscious and archetypes, highlight the importance of inner exploration and self-discovery for personal fulfillment and alignment. And by synthesizing these teachings, my channeling and all of that, it's come together. These are some of the testimonials. And again, I want to say this because this is only a fraction. This was from 2021. I just wanted a couple of years. And everyone who's in that work, they've only done a portion of it because I hadn't finished it. This is why I'm ending this now. I'm not ending it. I'm putting so much into this year is what I'm saying. That's why I'm doing this particular offer. But you can read all of this. And so I typically have not talked about this quite a bit. But you can see it because I'm thrilled of what's happening because I'm seeing people transform right before me. And so this is the Cyber Monday offer, and you could find all of that on my website. But these are the things that you will experience and you will have. And I know that you can have them, and the only reason you don't achieve what you are supposed to is because you give up. And I can just say that this is why Wilhelm had me change my program to your last development program, because they said the only thing people are doing is going around spending all this money doing things that they're only looking at. You're only looking at things and deciding if you're going to do it, and then you don't. This work gets you to do it. And so we're having a really great time with it because you begin to understand you're never done. That's why people who come in will own this program because you write so much and you want to hang on to it because you're going to understand. People have created brilliant things with it, so I'm thrilled. And this is the first message I received. And I want you to understand, I'm 74. I've healed everything. I've gone through everything. Nothing you can tell me. I've lost, all that stuff. I've done everything humans can do. And I was afraid of it. So, do not judge yourself. This was the very first message that I wrote. Yes, it is indeed wise for you to realize how powerful you are and also to acknowledge the innate benevolence of your being. You seem to consistently maintain a subtle fear that somehow you would use your power in an ego-oriented way to the detriment of others. The truth for you is exactly the opposite, for the more you gain, you give away. The anger you sense, or hostility at times, if you've also been aware of, is not truly directed at others, but merely a reflection of your inner frustration with the intellectual knowledge of your power and your simultaneous restriction of that power, which causes friction. It is everyone's power to do with as they please, and your individual way is becoming more clear and purposeful for you. Be careful of the instilled limitations that would not have you own your worth. Relax and enjoy. Wilhelm. And that message is true for every single person. I was living it, but it's true for you because we have this greatness within us and we just kind of hold back a little bit. Now, this is where I started, and this is why I said my mission is complete. I've done it all. I've healed everything. I've done all of that, and now I'm giving it to everyone else. And you never have to struggle, let me tell you. That's why I had to live, I guess. And so your best life awaits. You can find everything there. We'll leave the links here, and we'll be sending out more. But I just had to do this today so that everyone would understand what I was doing. But what you will also see is the work that's in there, because this is about you becoming who you're meant to be in this world, loving yourself, knowing your life purpose, living it, becoming prosperous, having an abundant career, relationships, all that stuff. And it's all within you, and that I know. Thank you so much for being here. I have other gifts I'll leave, and we'll put some other things in the description of this video. But check out the work, because if you want to live your best life, now is your time to do it. See you guys soon.